Hey everyone, and welcome to Who Is Best, a show where I, Loclaudane, look at games that give you choices and rate those choices in a tier list. Today we will be looking at the sequel to one of the greatest JRPGs of all time, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. In this game, there are over 50 different weapons/characters you can collect called blades. You do this by releasing them from core crystals or collecting them through the story. Each blade falls into 3 classes: tank, DPS, and healer. We'll be ranking these blades according to their passive and active skills, classes, damage output, assigned element, weapon type, attack animation, and about a million other things. This is not a simple list, and I have broken it into 2 parts. I will just be scratching the surface, but if you want an extensive, and I mean extensive, look at the blades, check out Enel's 5-part series on his channel. He is the expert in all things Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I have made only slight changes to his tier list. Be sure to watch part 2, where I will reveal the optimal party and blade setup. Now, without further ado, I give you the tier. Number 51 is Finch. Finch is horrible at pulling aggro and uses a shield hammer, which is one of the worst weapon types in the game. Number 50 is Electra, who's annoying and also horrible at pulling aggro and uses a shield hammer. The only thing she has for her is a high block rate, but in a game where evasion tanks are most important, walls just aren't that great. Number 49 is Godfrey, who is horrible at pulling aggro, but also has 2 aux cords, which is fairly okay. Number 48 is Dromark. He's a healer, but that's about it. And in a game where the end game doesn't really use the healer classes, he's one of the worst. Number 47, Cora. Knuckle class is a good weapon, but she lacks any skills and abilities that would make her really that useful. And that's it for the crap tier. Let's move on to the low tier. Number 46, Florin. Florin uses Florin uses bitballs, which are slightly better than shield hammers, but really his only use is healing, and again, that isn't that useful in post-game. Number 45, Vess. Vess is a high DPS bitsball, but that's not that useful. Number 44, Dahlia. Dahlia is slightly better than Florin and Vess, but suffers the same issues. The only thing she has going for her is that she can break elemental orbs better than most, which is a fairly good passive ability. Number 43, Aegeon. Worst katana in the game, but makes a pretty decent evasion tank. Number 42, Ursula. Ursula is very useful during the story, but when it comes to post-game, again, she's just not that great as far as bitballs and healers go. Number 41, Boreas. Again, a bitball and healer, but with all that being said, he is one of the better healers in the game. And last of the low tier is Rock. Rock is a low damage DPS, but he does have the smash ability, which is pretty rare across the blades. Mid-tier. First on the mid-tier is Cassandra, number 39. Cassandra's a shield hammer, which is a minus, but she has a bunch of useful skills. She can pull aggro pretty well, and she's a rare dark blade type. Number 38, Perdido. The only use Perdido has is as a auto attack DPS, and that's about it. Number 37, Abrona. Abrona does pretty low damage, but she can break enemies, which opens up the gate to a lot of different combos in the game. Number 36, Cressidas. Cressidas is a knuckle clone tank that can draw aggro really well. He isn't anything to write home about, but he is a fairly good tank. Number 35, Perun. If you're planning on having your party die a lot, Perun is a great DPS. With KO'd allies, she can put out a lot of damage. The only problem is, why would you want your allies KO'd? Number 34, Percival. Does well against multiple enemies with AoE attacks, but other than that, doesn't do very well, especially against single enemies. Number 33, Poppy Alpha. Poppy Alpha is the best wall tank in the game. But again, in a game where evasion tanks are broken beyond belief, the walls really hit a wall, no pun intended, and don't get much better. Number 32, Poppy Buster. Poppy Buster is the best shield hammer in the game, which isn't saying much, but she's fairly good. Number 31, and this is a spoiler, so be warned. Number 31 is Nia. Nia is one of the best healers in the game, but again, that's not very useful when it comes to endgame. It is nice that she's water typing, which is somewhat rare to be honest. But overall, she's probably a blade you would want to use in the story, but not much past that. Number 30, Sheba. Sheba is the weakest cannon in the game, but she's also really good for the main story, because she's pretty easy to max out. But by endgame, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, better cannons out there. Number 29, Theory. Theory is great at drawing aggro and can evade pretty well. Overall, she's one of the middle tanks in the list. And for a new category to the show, we are going to be doing an upper mid tier, just to break this up a bit more. These blades are slightly better than the mid tier list. With that being said, let's start with 28, Praxis. Praxis is just a well-rounded DPS character. She does pretty well in most situations. Number 27, Newt. Newt can be a great tank, but the problem is that she suffers from drawing aggro, which always creates a problem. But man, is her design awesome. 26, Gorg. Gorg is similar to Newt in his usefulness, but again, he's slightly better, but again, just not that great overall. Number 25, Veil. Veil can put out a ton of damage, but the problem is it just takes a long time to get to that point. And there are a lot of better blades that can do the same amount of damage or better faster. Number 24, Agate. Agate has situational strength and can buff the party, so she's fairly good, but not amazing. Number 23, Sever. Sever is just a fast and consistent tank character. If there was a middle point tank, it would be Sever. 22, Azami. Azami is a horrible blade up until New Game Plus, but with the right strategy, she can put out a massive amount of damage in chain attacks. She's also a dark typing, which is good. Number 21, Poppy Cutie. Poppy Cutie is one of the better tanks in the game and has a bunch of customizability. Unfortunately, because of circumstances, she just is outclassed by the other Poppy, which we will talk about later in this list. Number 20, Akos. If you were going to put a title to Akos, it would be DPS Healer. He's a pretty decent party member for any team setup. Number 19, Adenine. Adenine is again one of those situational damage dealers, but she has the plus ability to heal, which can maybe be useful in some situations. Number 18, Nim. Nim is an interesting placement on this list. She's decent alone, but really the main thing you would want her for is buffing your combos. I've seen a lot of endgame teams throw her in just for her single ability to buff. Number 17, Mikhail. Mikhail is one of the best DPS tanks out there and can be a fairly useful character. And the final one on the list for today is Wulfric. Wulfric can do insane damage to topple enemies, but he has some pretty low defense and is outclassed by a lot of blades in the next video. And that's it for part 1. We'll be diving into the high tier and god tier in the next video, as well as the optimal party and blades for your playthrough. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Like and share as well, and I'll see you all later.